Hello again, adventurers, and welcome back to the Forgotten World. Last time, Ollie and his friends ventured into the Crystal Archives, a library of memories from the dawn of villager kind. There, they uncovered the location of the Key of Undoing, an artifact of immense power hidden in the Sunken Spire of the Abyss. But they were not alone. Shadow Stalkers, silent and swift, stole that same knowledge and slipped away into the darkness. Now, the guardian Kalis has acknowledged the true threat, and the search has become a desperate race. Can Ollie reach the spire before the shadows claim a power that can unmake reality itself? The journey into darkness begins now. This is Episode 3, The Sunken Spire of the Abyss. Kalis stood before the broken archway of the Crystal Archives, the ambient light of the cavern casting his stone-etched face in stark relief. His burning blue eyes were fixed on Ollie, no longer with suspicion, but with a grim, heavy understanding. "The race has already begun," he said, his voice a low rumble. "The Shadow Stalkers do not travel through physical space as you do. They slip through the cracks between worlds. They are already on their way. You do not have time to waste." Ollie's stomach twisted into a knot. "Then you have to show us the way. How do we get to the Abyss?" "The First Land is a world apart, floating in its own realm," Kalis explained. "The Abyss is its opposite, a void below all other worlds. There is no simple path. I can open a way, but I cannot accompany you. My life is bound to the First Land. To leave it would be to cease to exist." He looked at Ollie, his expression severe. "You will be entirely on your own." "We're used to it," Spitbeard grunted, stomping a hoof impatiently. "Just point us to the scary hole in the ground and let's get on with it." Kalis ignored him, his focus entirely on Ollie. He reached into his runic robes and produced a small, smooth stone that seemed to drink the light around it, glowing with a soft, internal luminescence. This is an ether stone. The air in the abyss is not air at all, but a crushing, breathless void. Keep this with you, and it will create a small pocket of breathable atmosphere around you and your companions. It is all the help I can offer." Ollie took the stone, its surface cool and strangely comforting. "Thank you, Kalis." "Do not thank me yet," the guardian warned. He strode to the center of the ruins and raised his hands. Runes flared to life across his arms, glowing with intense blue fire. The ground trembled as he chanted in a language older than words. A circle of runes appeared on the floor, and with a sound like tearing reality, the space within the circle dissolved. It didn't become a hole, but a shimmering vertical pool of liquid darkness, swirling like an oil slick on water. "This is the way between worlds. It will take you to the roof of the abyss. Be swift, and be warned. The shadows are not the only things that stir in the dark." Ollie looked at Flicker, then at Spitbeard. With a shared, determined nod, he gripped the ether stone, held the heart block key high, and stepped into the portal. The world dissolved into cold. It was not a physical cold, but a deep, existential chill that seemed to pull the warmth directly from his soul. They were falling through a tunnel of nothingness, surrounded by fleeting whispers. Not of memories this time, but of futures that might be. He saw visions of his village burning, of the skylands crumbling into dust, of Flicker's light extinguished forever. He squeezed his eyes shut, clutching the ether stone, its faint warmth the only thing that felt real. And then, as suddenly as it began, it was over. They landed with a soft crunch on a floor of cracked black stone. Ollie opened his eyes and gasped. They were standing on an enormous, flat plane of bedrock, seemingly floating in an infinite dark space. But it wasn't empty. Below them stretched a vast, starless, upside-down sky. It was the abyss, a great dark ocean, the Abyssal Sea, churned silently far beneath them, its surface like polished obsidian. There was no sun, no moon, yet the darkness was not absolute. Enormous fungi, growing downwards from the bedrock ceiling like inverted trees, glowed with eerie bioluminescence. Great forests of them cast a dim blue-green light across the cavern. Veins of glowing lichen pulsed like nerves across the stone, and in the distant water, huge, slow-moving shapes drifted, their bodies lit with shifting patterns of light. "Whoa," Ollie whispered. The sheer scale of it was terrifying and beautiful all at once. The air, thanks to the ether stone, was cool and still, but the silence was so deep it had weight. Flicker hovered close, her own light seeming small and fragile here. "It's like the whole world is upside down." "Smells like old socks and regret," Spitbeard grumbled, though his eyes were wide, scanning the immense cavern. The vision from the archives flared in Ollie's mind, a crumbling tower, half submerged in that inky ocean. He scanned the horizon. In the far distance, just visible in the gloom, a single jagged shape broke the surface of the Abyssal Sea. The Sunken Spire. "There," Ollie said, pointing. "That's where we have to go." Getting there was another challenge. The journey across the bedrock ceiling was treacherous, with massive chasms and sheer drops into nothingness. They navigated by the light of the glowing fungi and Flicker's brave little glow, moving as fast as they could. As they traveled, they saw the strange life of the abyss. Schools of silent, winged creatures with glowing eyes flitted between the fungal trees. At one point, a colossal creature, a gloom leviathan, drifted slowly below them, its body bigger than any mountain, a living island of stone and shadow, its many eyes glowing with dull, ancient light. It paid them no mind, a silent god in its own dark kingdom. Finally, they reached the edge of the bedrock shelf directly above the spire. The tower was even more imposing up close. It looked like the ribcage of some dead god, ancient and broken, its stones covered in the glowing lichen of the abyss. Runes of power, the ones from Ollie's vision, were carved into its surface, but they pulsed with a weak, fading light. The bindings were failing, but they weren't the first to arrive. Slipping through the cracks in the stone, slithering up the crumbling walls like spiders of living smoke, were the Shadow Stalkers. Dozens of them. They weren't trying to break in. They were flowing into the spire as if it were made of water, their mission clear. Reach the heart of the tower. "They beat us here," Flicker cried. "Then we'll just have to be faster," Ollie said. He found a place where the tower's broken wall leaned close to the bedrock and leaped. He landed hard on the slick stone, his boots skidding. Flicker and Spitbeard landed beside him a moment later. The race was on. They charged into the spire, its interior a spiraling maze of broken staircases and collapsing hallways. Shadow Stalkers darted from every corner, their red eyes like embers in the gloom. This wasn't a battle. It was an obstacle course. The Stalkers weren't focused on fighting them. They were focused on reaching the spire's central chamber. "Don't let them get past us," Ollie shouted. He swung the heart block key, unleashing an arc of balanced energy that vaporized a wave of stalkers. Spitbeard became a whirlwind of spitting fury, his acidic globs melting the shadowy creatures on contact. "Get back, you smoky bilge rats!" he roared. Flicker was their guiding star, her light searing through the darkness and acting like a wall against the shadow creatures, forcing them back. Together they fought their way downwards, deeper into the heart of the submerged tower. The air grew colder, the pressure more intense. Finally, they reached a massive circular door, sealed with a final, glowing rune. Ollie placed his palm on it. The rune flared, recognized the energy of the heart block key, and dissolved. The great stone door groaned open. Ollie rushed inside and froze. He was in the central chamber. It was a vast, spherical room, the very heart of the spire. And in the center, chained by ethereal bands of light, was not a pedestal, but a colossal figure. It was a golem, but unlike any iron golem Ollie had ever seen. It was forged from the black stone of the abyss itself, its body covered in the same ancient, glowing runes as the tower. It was dormant, its head bowed, seemingly asleep for 10,000 years. And embedded in the very center of its chest, pulsing with a terrifying, chaotic energy that made the air itself vibrate, was the key of undoing. It was the golem's heart. The Abyssal Warden, a whisper echoed in Ollie's mind. The final guardian, the prison, and the prisoner. But the moment of awe was broken as Shadow Stalkers poured into the chamber from cracks in the ceiling. They ignored Ollie completely. They flowed toward the dormant warden, their smoky tendrils reaching for the key of undoing, not to take it, but to corrupt it, to pour their void energy into it. "No!" Ollie shouted, lunging forward. He was too late. The moment the shadows touched the key, the warden's head snapped up. Two massive eyes, previously dark, blazed to life with a ferocious violet light. The chains of energy shattered. A deep, grinding groan echoed through the chamber as the Abyssal Warden, the guardian of the Unmaker, began to move for the first time in millennia. It rose to its full, terrifying height, its gaze falling upon Ollie, its chest pulsing with a power that could shatter worlds. Ollie stood frozen, the heart block key in his hand feeling suddenly, impossibly small. He hadn't just found the key of undoing, he had awakened its eternal, unstoppable guardian. And so deep in the crushing dark of the abyss, Ollie is faced with a challenge beyond any he could have imagined. The key he sought is the heart of an ancient, colossal warden, now awake and enraged by the shadow's corruption. What is this ancient guardian? Can it be controlled or reasoned with? Or has Ollie just awakened a far greater and more immediate threat than the shadows themselves? That, adventurers, is a story for the next heart-pounding chapter of the Forgotten World. If you're holding your breath, make sure you followed Ollie's entire journey in the Heroes of the Block saga. Every legend, every victory has been building to this moment of impossible odds. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you'll be ready for Episode 4, The Heart of the Warden. Because the battle for the Key of Undoing has just begun. And remember, in Minecraft, every block tells a story.